Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the show. Paul, Lou, Buzz, Sylvia, what up? Illuminate the dark. What is going on? Discombobulated. What is happening, everybody? Well, as I indicated last week in a video, can't even remember the format of the video. It was a phone call to Dice, trying to figure out the status of my complaint. And turns out they got back to me, everybody. I'll let everybody come in for a minute, and then we'll take a little poll, and we'll see what you guys think. Did Deland, well, first, did they do the right thing? Did Deland do the right thing? And then we need to analyze whether Deland even looked at the current law when they decided what was going on with my complaint. So, what do you guys think? We got I'm not sure. We got 28 people. 28 people in here. I just want to poll the audience. What do you guys think? Did Deland look at the video, look at the complaint, look at the body cam, and determine that there was, in fact, a violation? The answer the Russian plant's onto something. You know, this was actually interesting because they not only exactly, Sylvia. They not only investigated themselves in this situation, but we'll get into it. What's going on, Brandon? We'll get into it. But you as much as I deal with this department, I try to not be shocked or surprised by the antics that they engage in. But it's difficult. It's difficult to wrap your head around it. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a look. We're gonna take a look at the stop, okay? And then I'm not gonna add any commentary. We're just gonna take a look at the stop, and then we're gonna go over what Captain Dice sent to me the other day. So here, let me see if I can be competent. Well, we don't want to see that yet. We don't want to see that yet, guys. Not yet.
This is a public service.
All right, so you can't see it in the photo, but right back, I'm not sure how to point at it. I got a pointer? Can I drive a pointer? Right back here, there's a drive, and that is where Officer Alfonso has been parked for at least 5 minutes. I've been in this parking lot at least for 5 minutes because there wasn't an SD card in my camera, the backup camera. So we'll just pause this for just a second. So if there was a legitimate concern for my well-being, he had every opportunity. He had every opportunity to come up to my car and say, "Sir, I noticed this. I noticed that. Are you okay?" Officer Alfonso is currently behind me. We did not get any snow, although Madison posted a video last night that overnight there were some flurries around his house. Crazy that they got like 9.5 inches in northern Florida. There's an officer coming towards me. They're swarming the car. What the hell is this stuff? They're swarming the car. Saw the speed limit. I never went over 25. I was actually to that intersection first. But I'm going to be a nice guy and let this guy go. Turn signal. Parking spot. Lights. Chirp. Traffic stop. Chirp the siren. There's another officer right there. I think that's backup. I needed to do that ion news. I only realized that after all this, because I ended up going live on the other channel.
Hey, how's it going, man? I'm Officer Alfonso with the Deland Police Department.
What'd you pull me over for?
For a well-being check. That's all it is. I saw that once I got behind you, you keep turning off, and then...
A well-being check, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure you're okay. You keep pulling off the road and coming back on the road and stuff, so I'm trying to see if you're having a medical emergency or anything like that, that's all.
You're pulling me over. You're stopping me from what I'm doing because you're concerned, because...
Yes.
Did I commit a crime?
I said I'm just doing a well-being check on you.
Did I commit a traffic infraction?
No, I'm just doing a well-being check on you.
Is this what is your name?
Officer Alfonso with the Deland Police Department.
Who's the other officer?
What is it?
Who's the other officer?
Officer Amat. He's right over there. Just doing a well-being check on you, man. You keep
Yeah. I'm
Do
you have a supervisor on duty?
I can get a supervisor.
I'd like a supervisor over here.
All right. Let's listen to Officer Alfonso very carefully here. He's told me that this is a well-being check. He wants to check on my well-being. I asked for the supervisor, and this is what he says to the supervisor.
Give me a minute. 5 Alpha 11, 10 Can you come to my traffic stop? Just requesting a supervisor.
What? Huh? What did he just say? He said, "Could you come to my traffic stop?" He didn't say, "Could you come out to my wellness check?" He didn't say that. He said, could you come out to my traffic stop? It's a fucking traffic stop. It's not a fucking wellness check. It's a pretextual traffic stop. And they forgot the pretext.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, power inherent to people. I would have done this obviously a lot different with hindsight, being able to look back. But, you know, I figure this did better to expose them than me simply saying, am I being detained, rolling up the window, and jetting, you know?
All right, I have a supervisor coming in.
Is this something that you guys typically engage in?
What is it?
Is this something that you guys typically engage in?
We conduct well-being checks all the time whenever a car, you know, if we see that a car is doing some type of maneuvers or anything like that.
What maneuver was it that you...
I just said that you kept pulling off and on onto the road and all.
How many times did I pull off the road?
It was a total of 2 times that you did that, so I was trying to check.
Is this the second time, the traffic stop?
No, the second time was when you pulled off into the Stetson field.
When was the first time?
The first time, it was by the potato patch, if you know where that is. That's right down there by the Dixie Lodge. I don't know if you're from the area.
Really? Is that on video?
It is actually. My Dashcam
on my video, not on his video.
Anything happens.
Anything happens. So when did you start recording?
8 minutes before the
lights turned on. So I was in that Stetson lot for more than a minute.
But it still happened under my presence. I was just doing a well-being check. The supervisor's coming. Okay, he's gonna.
Well,
I mean, you're the one that pulled me over. You've got me.
You requested a supervisor.
Yeah, because you've got me over here on the side of the road.
Yeah, for a well-being check. That's what it was. Yeah,
so how long do you need to conduct your well-being check?
This was it, but you called the supervisor, so I'm just waiting.
Because you're illegally detaining me on the side of the road, sir.
I'm just doing.
All right. Who thinks that this is an illegal detainment? An illegal stop? Anybody? Does anybody think that that's what's going on here?
I never said you're being detained or anything.
Sir, I'm not detained. There's lights on behind me. You pulled me over to the side of the road. How am I supposed to believe that I'm not being detained?
Like I said, my supervisor's on his way. We'll go ahead and talk to my supervisor. You would have been free to go now because I see that you're doing perfectly fine, but I called for my supervisor. That's why.
I'm concerned that you're pulling people over for not doing a goddamn thing wrong.
Okay. Well, my supervisor.
I'm concerned that you're detaining people on the side of the road for no good goddamn reason.
Well, we're just doing a well-being check.
I'm not real concerned about your well-being checking me. You're pulling citizens over on the side of the road for their well-being? Is that what I'm to understand? You can do that, huh? What kind of medical issue would somebody have pulling over on the side of the road?
Like I said, you pulled over more than once. I was trying to make sure you were okay.
I don't like to be followed by police.
Okay. It's a public roadway. I'm allowed to follow you if I wanted to.
Yep. And I guess you're allowed to illegally detain me too, huh?
I never said
Flush that out for me a little bit. Power inherent to people.
you were detained. I said,
sir, I'm not detained. I'm not detained. What do those lights mean?
You can leave right
Okay. When an officer...
All right, so he said right there, you can leave right now if you want. I didn't catch that when we were there, but at this point, I want to talk to the supervisor. You know, I want to know why, why this kind of stuff is happening in the city of Deland. It's a knock and talk.
Well, when an officer pulls behind you, you rude motherfucker. You see what's going on here? I'm in Deland.
That's Madison.
I got pulled over for a well-being check.
All right, now we got the supervisor.
They want
up.
How's it going, man?
How do you think it's going? Is it Sergeant Salmon?
It is.
Why are your officers pulling people over for no crime?
Okay, so he was conducting a well-being check on you. You were
Come on, man.
some concerning
behaviors, like pull into the side of the road safely in a safe manner.
Okay. He said you did
not
so several
not
times.
violating any traffic infraction.
Okay.
You have me detained on the side of the road, and you don't want to listen to me.
He said, "You're not detained. You're free to leave." That was the statement that he made. And just to be clear, I'm not sure if anybody saw the audit that happened on this, but he said You're not being detained. You're free to leave. And then I get out of the car. I get a fucking B. I get a B plus because this guy says that I shouldn't have gotten out of the car on the traffic stop. But, first of all, it wasn't even a traffic stop. So there goes that. And then second of all, he said the traffic stop was over. I need to audit that shit. I should have gotten an A fucking plus. A plus. A fucking plus is what I should have gotten. Bullshit. All right, so that's that. I get out here. We'll go.
Sergeant!
Where the fuck do you get off behaving like this? Where do you get off detaining somebody on the side of the road? Do your job better, officer. And then Salmon's coming up.
Fuck off!
Fuck off. Fuck off, fish for brains.
Sorry about that.
Alright, so we go from there to the police station where it takes me 66 days. It takes me 66 days to file a complaint. 66 days. And here's what we got from the Deland Police Department. The Deland Police Department takes all citizen complaints seriously. It is the policy of the Deland Police Department to accept and review all complaints from any source outside or inside the department to determine the validity of the allegations and the proper course of action to be taken. This letter is in response to your formal complaint filed Thursday, November 14th against members of the Deland Police Department, Sergeant Fish for Brains, and Officer Alfonso. The complaint referenced a traffic stop you believed to be unlawful. You believed to be unlawfully conducted on September 10th, Officer Alfonso, followed by the allegation of conduct unbecoming of a police supervisor, Sergeant Fishfuck. In your complaint, you explained the following. On September 10th, I was traveling through Deland and noticed a Deland police officer behind me. I pulled over to the side of the road to let him pull past me safely. I sat in... Well, he's paraphrasing. That wasn't the entire... That wasn't the entire complaint. These fucking assholes, dude. They're such pieces of shit. I don't think it's in this. Whatever. Anyway. I sat in this parking lot for several minutes while Officer Alfonso parked at the entrance at 115 Euclid and waited until I departed. As soon as I pulled onto Euclid, Officer Alfonso got behind me. This is all evidence in Dashcam where you can see I was safely driving by the rules of the road. I asked Officer Alfonso's supervisor, and Officer Alfonso asked Sergeant Salmon to come to his traffic stop. Sergeant Salmon arrived on scene and was rude and wouldn't let me express my concern for the unlawful traffic stop. Overall, it was conduct completely unbecoming, not only a sergeant, but a public servant tasked with serving the community. Sergeant Salmon's gross. Due to the, check this. Due to the seriousness of the above-mentioned allegations, this complaint was reviewed by the Office of Internal Affairs. Within the past few weeks since the initial filing of your formal complaint, November 14th, Captain Dice evaluated the four aforementioned allegations. After evaluating the allegations through a review and preliminary assessment was conducted, including the following sources. Thorough review of the body cam footage. Review of the complaint's social media videos. Analysis of sworn written statements submitted by the complainant. Communication of chain of command with subject officers involved. Gonna have to get my hands on that. Review of the Fourth Amendment and the community caretaking doctrine. Let's go over the chat, see what's been going on over here. That's what they're really going to be laying into this community caretaking thing. They think it's a panacea for them. They think that it's going to solve all of their problems, but unfortunately, it's already been addressed in the state of Florida, and it's not community caretaking. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They do whatever they want. It's fucked, bro. Thank you, Lenny. I appreciate that. Yeah, Brittany, Longwood's terrible. Longwood's terrible. You sent me a video yesterday. They're asking for raises for themselves. They're doing such a good job illegally arresting their citizens for reversing into their driveway at gunpoint. Outrageous. Dasfoot, we're just talking about the internal investigation from the city of Deland. They released it to me. So here we go. During the review of the BWC, Officer Alfonso is observed approaching your vehicle from the driver's side while Officer Amat remained on your passenger side. It should be noted that Officer Alfonso's emergency lights are activated as he approached and contacted you. As Officer Alfonso attempts to communicate his purpose for contacting you, it is obvious that you are extremely frustrated and upset with the encounter. Yes. I'm very frustrated that state agents are stopping me on the side of the road. It doesn't matter what the reason is. It doesn't matter what the reason is. I don't want to talk to your state agents. During the encounter, you wanted to know the reason why you were being pulled over. As Officer Alfonso expressed, he was conducting a well-being check due to the maneuvers of your vehicle he observed prior while driving on the roadway. But he doesn't think to mention what specific maneuvers he finds suspicious or that would require a well-being check. You requested a supervisor, which was Sergeant Fishfuck. Officer Alfonso could also be heard in the video expressing to you that you were free to leave. He also expressed on the video, you must have missed this. Dice. When he called his supervisor, he said, "Could you come to my traffic stop?" I don't know why you missed that. That's a tough one. Therefore, you were not being unlawfully detained during this encounter. Because he said I was free to leave, I wasn't being unlawfully detained. So, what about until that point, Dice? What about from the point that he pulled me over up until the point he said I was free to leave? Was I being illegally detained then? Was I even being detained, or could I have shut the window and pulled away? These fucking motherfuckers. Therefore, you were not being unlawfully detained during this encounter. As Officer Alfonso continued to explain his purpose of the encounter to you, he was unsuccessful. No, he wasn't unsuccessful in explaining. I understand that he thinks he was there conducting his well-being check, but that's what you tell them to tell. That's what Deland tells its officers to tell people. That is not what was happening at all, and we know it. We're not fucking stupid. As Officer Alfonso continued to explain his purpose of the encounter to you, he was unsuccessful. No, you're assuming he was unsuccessful. He was unsuccessful in persuasively arguing and convincing me that was the case, because it's a bull-faced lie. Therefore, he politely walked away from your vehicle after contacting his supervisor. He politely walked away.
A 3% IRA match.
Shut up.
It's a public roadway. You're allowed to follow you if I wanted to.
Yep. And I guess you're allowed to illegally detain me too, huh?
I never said you were detained. I said,
Sir, I'm not detained. What do those lights mean?
You can leave right
Okay. When an officer pulls behind you, you rude motherfucker.
Okay, so that's...
You see?
Let me just get back here. I just wanted to make sure that that's nice and fresh. Officer Alfonso continued to explain his purpose of the encounter. He was unsuccessful. Therefore, he politely walked away from your vehicle after contacting his supervisor. That was politely walking away? That's usually, when me and my wife are politely talking, oftentimes I'll just turn my back and walk away from her. But don't worry, guys. I politely walked away. It wasn't rude as fuck. These fucking assholes. It should be noted that you could be heard in the video utilizing a choice of words which are vulgar in nature and expressed towards Officer Alfonso to vent your frustrations, which is one of the reasons observed and the reason that caused our officer to walk away from you. What? He walked away from me because he couldn't handle my choice vulgar words? Excuse me? You haven't trained your officers that sometimes when they do fucking bullshit like this, that people are going to be pissed off? And this is evidenced even further when Sergeant fucking Fishfuck comes up. Because what's his deal? He does the same thing. Oh, he must have politely walked away as well. Yeah, he must have politely walked away as well. Complainant's YouTube channel. Let's fucking see. During a review of your YouTube channel, during your video, you expressed your frustrations with the encounter and the Deland Police Department's actions. Really? You expressed that you did not like to be followed by police. I don't like to be followed by police. You also expressed that you felt that the emergency lights indicated that you were being detained. That's exactly what that means. Especially when it's coupled with the chirp of the siren. It should be noted that the conversation reviewed on the BWC is identical to the conversation posted on your YouTube channel between Officer Alfonso and Sergeant Salmon. It's a video, Dice. Of course they're identical. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. It is noted that Officer Alfonso remained professional during the entire encounter and attempted to explain as much as he could. It should also be noted that what? What should it also be noted that? He did not remain professional. A professional officer would have stood there and listened to the concerns of the citizen when they're doing something illegal. I called you out for doing something illegal and everybody couldn't stay there. Officer Alfonso, he had to run back to his car because he couldn't possibly hear somebody being pissed off about it. Fish for Brains comes up to the car. He knows this shit's illegal. But what happens? He also remained professional. And what is it? I don't fucking know. These motherfuckers. Alright, so they didn't even complete this. Alright, let me calm down. Let me take a breath. Let's see what you guys have to say here. It was rude as fuck. Yeah. Politely. Gas me up. Trying to gas me up. Their oath is trash. I went to a city hall meeting. A Deland City Hall meeting. I don't remember when it was. It wasn't too terribly long ago. But, you know, I make my conversation I make my speech to the city, and then the chief has the gall to try to gas me up, and gas me up after that, after my speech, and he says, he knows what his oath is. He knows what his oath is. His oath is to the blue line. His oath is to the other officers. He does not give a fuck. He does not give a fuck about the people of Deland, and he certainly doesn't give a fuck about the people that happen to be passing through the city of Deland. Wellness check? Get fucked, bro. Piece of shit. Complainant's written statement. An analysis of the written statement you submitted. Explain your concerns with the encounter. English is fucking a super weapon with these people. You indicated in your statement the encounter was an unlawful traffic stop. It was. You also indicated that you were dissatisfied with Sergeant Salmon's conduct as he contacted you when you requested. Yes, I very dissatisfied. Very, very dissatisfied. I couldn't be more dissatisfied. This is peak dissatisfaction. Communication with Salmon and Alfonso. What's going on, Brad? After communications with Sergeant Salmon and Officer Alfonso, it was expressed that the purpose of the encounter was specifically to ensure that you, the driver of the vehicle, was okay due to the maneuvers observed while the vehicle was traveling on the roadway. Okay. Like what? Like what? What maneuvers? You guys think that this is going to absolve you, that you're going to get oh, he was doing some maneuvers. What were the fucking maneuvers? What were they? Nothing. Because there weren't any maneuvers on the dash cam. There weren't any maneuvers on the body cam. There weren't any maneuvers on the officer's car cam, which I don't even think I got. Once Officer Alfonso determined that you were safe and okay, he ensured that you understood that you were not being detained and that you were free to leave. Just because he said it doesn't mean that it didn't happen prior, you idiots. Morons. Officer Alfonso's emergency lights were activated to prevent you and or other drivers from being involved in any traffic accidents while on the side of the roadway. What? I was in a parking spot. It should be noted that Officer Alfonso did not have any knowledge of the identity of the driver of the vehicle, nor any previous encounters with the driver prior to the encounter. I can't even fucking read this. What the fuck? Why can't these people speak English? And they're trying to behave like it should be noted that Officer Alfonso did not have any knowledge of my identity or previous encounters with me. Is the department sending out emails about me? Does the Deland Police Department send out emails about me? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And this isn't a first time that they're sending out emails. They've been doing it. So to pretend that just because I haven't had an interaction with one of your officers, that he doesn't have any clue who I am or what I do, get fucked with that bullshit. Here we go. Fourth Amendment, community caretaking doctrine. Ordinarily, law enforcement officers need at least two types of legal authority to stop and detain citizens on foot or in a motor vehicle. These two types of legal authority are reasonable suspicion and probable cause. However, we do whatever the fuck we want in the land. However, there are certain interactions between police officers and citizens that do not require legal justification, as local police officers are charged with community caretaking functions totally divorced from the detection, investigation, or acquisition of evidence related to violation of any criminal statute. The decision of the police to conduct a well-being check must be reasonable in the light of an objective basis for believing that an individual's safety and well-being may be in jeopardy. That concern extends in certain circumstances to the safety of the public as well. Somebody driving by the rules of the road, safely pulling over to the side of the road, using their turn signals, parking in parking spots, parking in parking lots, there's nothing suspicious. There's nothing what? There's no justification. There's no community caretaking function, you fucking clowns. The decision of the police to conduct a well-being check must be reasonable in the light of the objective basis for believing that an individual's safety and well-being may be in jeopardy. So what was the objective basis? What was the objective basis for concern? That concern extends in certain circumstances to the safety and public as well. So what was the objective basis for believing the individual's safety and well-being may be in jeopardy? That's important. There are limits to these situations in which an officer may stop citizens, this being a prime example. For example, an officer's reasonable belief that a motorist is lost? Now Deland's going to pull people over. Oh, I thought you might be lost. I thought you might be lost. You gotta be kidding me. These people have lost their fucking mind. This is Chief Umberger. Chief Umberger, he loves this shit. He thinks this is great. He thinks this is how his oath operates. Reasonable belief that the motorist is lost. In the absence of complicating elements such as safety hazards, illness, or the like, it is not sufficient to justify a seizure under the Fourth Amendment traffic stop, like they called it, of a motor vehicle. However, police officers are allowed, without reasonable suspicion of any criminal activity, to approach and detain citizens for community caretaking purposes. They don't have a fucking clue what the community caretaking doctrine is. Somebody told them that they could gas up their citizens and use the shit out of it, and they had their dumbass lawyer, what's his name, Daryl Elkind or whatever, come up and said, oh yeah, this is fine, I don't care about the Constitution either, so it's no big deal. The Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution protects citizens from unreasonable searches and seizures. However, we got a workaround. However, there is an exception to this rule known as the community caretaking doctrine. This doctrine allows sovereign citizens to perform certain duties that are unrelated to criminal investigations. This community caretaking doctrine allows the police officers to carry out their duties as public servants and ensure the safety and welfare of the community, even though they've got no duty to protect us. This can include tasks such as checking on the well-being of an individual, removing a hazardous object from the roadway, or helping a lost child find their way home. You fucking clowns. It is critical to note that the scope of the community caretaking doctrine is limited. It is critical to note that. Is it critical for me to note that, or is it critical for you clowns to note that? The Supreme Court has held that this exception applies only to minor intrusions that do not infringe upon the person's reasonable expectation of privacy. I'm live, Stephen. I can't talk right now. In this case, it is clear that Officer Alfonso's act did not act in good faith. In this case, it is clear that Officer Alfonso did act in good faith with legitimate reason to perform his actions, but nobody talks about him. He doesn't mention them. He doesn't mention what the legitimate reason is. Pulling over on the side isn't a legitimate reason, you fucking dipshits. You're fucking stupid. Additionally, it's determined that Sergeant Salmon did nothing wrong either. Fuck it. He can do whatever he wants, and his conduct was acceptable during the encounter with you. It should be noted that Sergeant Salmon responded as requested to listen to your side of the story. Did he listen to my side of the story, you fucking fucks? You fucking assholes. Based on your concerns with the encounter, he did not. When Sergeant Salmon approached your vehicle on the passenger side, his interaction with you were unsuccessful due to your choice of communication as he attempted to explain the purpose of interaction with you. All right. Okay. All right. I don't remember it going down like that, but let's see if my choice words come out. Let's see if I'm unprofessional with Sergeant Salmon.
How's it going, man?
How do you
How's it going, man? Not fucking
think it's
good.
going? Is it Sergeant still, Sergeant Salmon?
It is.
Why are your officers pulling people over for no crime?
Okay, so he was conducting a well-being check on you. You were...
He's explaining that he's conducting a well-being check, and I'm expressing to him that I think he's full of shit.
Come on, man.
Some concerning
behaviors, like pulling to the side of the road safely in a safe manner.
Like pulling to the side of the road safely in a safe manner. He speaks. He acts like my interruption, my making that statement was over the top. I should not have ever interrupted the sergeant. Don't interrupt the sergeant.
He said you
not violating any traffic and bro.
Are you going to let me talk? Are you going to let me talk? No. I called you there to listen to me complain about this bullshit.
You have me detained on the side of the road and you don't want to listen to me?
You're not detained, you're free to leave. This is professional. This is professional.
Is it Sergeant still, Sergeant Salmon?
It is.
Why are your officers pulling people over for no crime?
Okay, so he was conducting a well-being check on you. You were...
Come on, man.
Some concerning
behaviors, like pulling to the side of the road safely in a safe manner.
Okay. He said you
not violating any traffic and bro. Okay. You have me detained on the side of the road and you don't want to listen to me?
Sergeant!
Interesting. Additionally, it is determined that Sergeant Salmon did nothing wrong and his conduct was acceptable during the encounter with you. It should be noted that Sergeant Salmon responded as requested to listen to my side of the story based on my concerns with the encounter. It should be noted that Sergeant Salmon responded as requested to listen to your side of the story based upon your concerns with the encounter. Well, did he fucking do that? Did he fucking sit there and listen to my concerns? No. You can't even get through a paragraph where you don't contradict yourself. You fuckers. When Sergeant Salmon approached the vehicle on the passenger side, his interaction with you were unsuccessful due to your choice of communication. Speech. My choice of communication was speech. As he attempted to explain the purpose of the interaction, I already knew what they thought. I already knew the story they were telling me. It was time for him to hear the story about their bullshit from me. As he continued to explain, you continued to talk over him. Well, I thought he was there to listen to my concerns, not to talk to me. As he continued to explain, you continued to talk over him, not allowing him the opportunity to gaslight me and cop-splain the answer to the questions in which you were asking. Questions I was asking. Questions I was asking.
How's it going, man?
How do you think it's going? Is it Sergeant still, Sergeant Salmon?
It is.
Why are your officers pulling people over for no crime?
Okay, so he was conducting a well-being check on you. You were...
Come on, man.
Some concerning
behaviors, like pulling to the side of the road safely in a safe manner.
Okay. He said you
not violating any traffic and bro. Okay. You have me detained on the side of the road and you don't want to listen.
I asked one question, and that's the second question. This fuck. Did he answer it? Did he answer the question? He was very concerned with answering my questions, right? As he continued to explain, you continued to talk over him, not allowing him the opportunity to answer the questions in which you were asking. It appears based on watching the videos that you did not care to hear what the sergeant or Alfonso had to say, explain, or express. Well, if I want somebody to listen to my concerns, do I give a fuck? Do I give a fuck about what they have to say? Or do I care about getting my concerns out there? What? After Sergeant Salmon decided that the conversation was not successful with communicating with you, after Sergeant Salmon decided that the conversation was not successful with communicating with you. What? He politely walked away. He politely walked away from my car. Yep. He was so polite. This is when you got out of your car. Well, was the traffic stop over? Was I being detained? Am I allowed out of the car, you fucking prick? Started yelling at the officers. I didn't. Technically, I was only yelling at Salmon and using vulgar language to describe your frustrations. So what? Although your encounter with Sergeant Salmon was unsuccessful, only from my perspective, from your perspective, he was polite and great. You were still able to express your concerns to other supervisors and personnel of the police department, as well as the officer of internal affairs via your formal written complaint. Your complaint was taken seriously and thoroughly reviewed and assessed. Anybody believe that? I'm talking that whole time. And you can't hear me. Sorry about that. Does anybody think that my complaint was taken seriously and thoroughly reviewed? Does anybody believe that? Sylvia, I don't know who typed this up. You could hear me even though the mic was off. These fucks. All right, so here we go. Let's get to the conclusion. After the conclusion of the preliminary assessment of the complaint, they didn't even file a complaint. This wasn't even a complaint. That's how unseriously they take it. It wasn't even a fucking internal investigation because they just do whatever the fuck they want. After the conclusion of the preliminary investigation of the complaint conducted by the Office of Internal Affairs, it is determined that the preliminary findings based upon the preliminary assessment are as follows. No basis for the initiation of an internal investigation. No basis. Conduct unbecoming? Unfounded. Unlawful traffic stop? Unfounded. It should be noted that both Sergeant Salmon and Officer Alfonso followed and acted within policy and procedures and state statutes, while your policies and procedures are fucked. They're against the people. They're against the Constitution. You guys should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. However, the conclusion is that all officers involved conducted themselves in accordance with state statutes and no policy or procedure violations could be identified. The complaint has been closed at this time. Fuck you. Sincerely, Captain Dice. We hope that this incident has not caused long-lasting harm to your perception of law enforcement. What? And those who strive to provide exceptional service to our citizens? Who? Who's that? What? These motherfuckers. These motherfuckers right here. That's for another day. All right, let's listen to this here. Because I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly with their assessment of the situation. Sorry, I gotta find this.
Become a cybersecurity professional in less than a year.
No. All right. Let me just calm down a little bit. Take a breath. Okay, so that's the Deland Police Department. That's the Deland Police Department, everybody. They're professional. They care. TC, those are just straight facts. His grammar's unbecoming. All right. Now we're gonna take a listen to something from Audit the Audit.
By at least reasonable suspicion of a crime or traffic offense, police officers may detain drivers pursuant to a so-called community caretaking function under certain circumstances, even without reasonable suspicion of criminal activity. The term community caretaking function originates from the 1973 case of Caddy versus Dombrowski, where the Supreme Court recognized that law enforcement officers frequently engage in duties that involve protecting or assisting members of the public that are, now quoting, totally divorced from the detection, investigation, or acquisition of evidence relating to the violation of a criminal statute. Therefore, as the First District Court of Appeal of Florida explained in the 2011 case of Majors versus State, quote, under the community caretaking doctrine, an officer may stop a vehicle without reasonable suspicion of criminal activity if the stop is necessary for public safety and welfare. For example, the quote continues, an officer is permitted to stop a vehicle when it is being operated in an unusual manner, even though no traffic violation is suspected. The purpose of such a stop is to ascertain whether the driver of the vehicle is in need of assistance due to illness, tiredness, or impairment, and to protect the motoring public from harm. However, the court went on to clarify that, now quoting again, even a stop pursuant to an officer's community caretaking responsibilities must be based on specific articulable facts showing that the stop was necessary for the protection of the public. Now, although Officer Alonso claimed that he believed Mr. The Good might have needed assistance because he had pulled off the road several times while he was driving, this argument is not particularly compelling, particularly given the fact that Mr. The Good did not pull off the road at all during the several minutes of dashcam footage immediately preceding the stop. Additionally, although the Fifth District Court of Appeal of Florida also determined in the 2005 case of State versus Rodriguez that, quote, a stop may be justified even in the absence of a traffic infraction when the vehicle is being operated in an unusual manner, in reaching this conclusion, the court relied on cases where the so-called unusual manner of operation created a legitimate concern for the safety of the public, such as crossing the fog line 3 times within 1 mile, weaving within the lane more than 5 times over a quarter-mile distance, and weaving within the lane and moving slower than the posted speed. Accordingly, while it is possible that a court could conclude a community caretaking traffic stop was justified in this situation, given the lack of evidence regarding a potential public safety concern, it seems unlikely that a reasonable court would do so.
What Deland is depending on is an unreasonable court, though, because they just want things to be however the fuck they want them, wherever the fuck, however the fuck. They don't care. They will do whatever they want. We got to the bottom of that. There's no community caretaking. There's no cause for the traffic stop.
Break free with the new Opera G.
Shut up. These ads are out of control, bro.
A person has been, quote-unquote, seized.
How long?
Oh, let's see if I was detained.
How long do you need to conduct your well-being check?
This was it, but you called the supervisor, so I'm just waiting on my...
Because you're illegally detaining me on the side of the road, sir.
I'm just doing a well-being check. I never said you're being detained or anything.
Sir, I'm not detained. There's lights on behind me. You pulled me over to the side of the road. How am I supposed to believe that I'm not being detained?
Like I said, my supervisor's on his way.
Officer Alfonso claims that Mr. The Good is not being detained, despite the fact that he pulled over the driver and activated the lights on his police vehicle. A plurality of the Supreme Court established in the 1980 case of United States versus Mendenhall that, quote, a person has been, quote unquote, seized within the meaning of the Fourth Amendment only if, in view of all of the circumstances surrounding the incident, a reasonable person would have believed that he was not free to leave. Accordingly, as the Supreme Court explained in the 1984 case of Berkemer versus McCarty, quote, a traffic stop significantly curtails the freedom of action of the driver and the passengers, if any, of the detained vehicle. Under the law of most states, it is a crime either to ignore a policeman's signal to stop one's car, or, once having stopped, to drive away without permission. Certainly, few motorists would feel free either to disobey a directive to pull over or to leave the scene of a traffic stop without being told they might do so. Partly for these reasons, the quote continues, we have long acknowledged that stopping an automobile and detaining its occupants constitute a seizure within the meaning of the Fourth Amendment, even though the purpose of the stop is limited and the resulting detention quite brief. However, it should be noted that an officer's activation of police lights does not automatically mean that the driver is being detained under Florida law. The Supreme Court of Florida held in the 2009 case of GM versus State of Florida that the activation of police lights alone did not always constitute a seizure.
But let's remember, they also chirped the siren with me, so we were already on top of this.
But rather that, now quoting, the activation of police lights is one important factor to be considered in a totality-based analysis as to whether a seizure has occurred. For instance, the court noted that the activation of police lights alone may not rise to the level of a seizure under circumstances where a motorist was already stopped on a public roadway, and the officer activated his or her lights either to indicate to other motorists that a car was parked on the roadway, or where the driver gave some indication that he or she might be in need of assistance. However, because it appears that Officer Alonso activated his police lights in order to signal to Mr. The Good that he needed to pull over, it is highly likely that a court would conclude that Mr. The Good had been detained.
Well, go ahead and talk to my supervisor. You would have been free to go now because I see that you're doing perfectly fine.
Let's grade the land.
Legal action in addition to his department complaint. Overall, Officer Alfonso gets an F for initiating a likely unconstitutional traffic stop, demonstrating a clear lack of knowledge regarding what constitutes a Fourth Amendment seizure, and attempting to justify his actions by claiming to be concerned for Mr. The Good's well-being. Sergeant Salmon also gets an F for maintaining an unprofessional demeanor throughout his brief encounter with Mr. The Good, blindly supporting Officer Alfonso's unconstitutional conduct, refusing to listen to Mr. The Good's concerns, and storming off in the middle of the...
But don't worry, folks. That's all professional in the land. All professional.
Conversation. The Deland officers appeared to have prior knowledge of Mr. The Good and his activities as a quote-unquote independent citizen journalist, and requires little imagination to infer that this familiarity may have been the true motivation for the stop, especially given the nonsensical nature of Officer Alfonso's explanation for the so-called well-being check. This encounter demonstrates how officers can sometimes attempt to legitimize unlawful actions by distorting their duty to protect the community, turning it into a pretext for conducting criminal investigations, or potentially even harassing citizens who call for accountability. Mr.
Now, everybody, I already spilled the beans, but we all saw the traffic stop. If we're going to grade Mr. The Good, where are we going to grade him? We have established that when he walked away from the window, that he said the traffic stop was over, so that might have been information that Audit the Audit missed. So I just want to leave that additional piece of information. I think that's A+ work. I mean, I really do.
The Good gets a B+, because although he did an excellent job advocating for his constitutional rights both during and after the stop, I cannot in good conscience give him an A because he got out of the vehicle during the traffic stop.
It was
Although
over!
he likely did not violate any laws by doing so, police officers are trained to view unexpected movements as potential threats. And when a citizen exits their vehicle during a traffic stop without being asked to do so, an officer could interpret this action as aggressive, potentially escalating the situation and putting the citizen in danger. And while I do not believe that drivers should have to fear for their lives if they get out of their vehicle to attempt to talk to an officer, given the...
But that's what the land wants. Make no mistake, that's what Deland wants. They made a big deal about this on the phone. They made a big deal. Why even mention it in the internal investigation? It's unimportant to mention. Yeah, I was pissed off because you guys do whatever you want. You investigate yourselves. You find nothing that no wrongdoing happened. We have video upon. It's not just my video. I don't think that Audit the Audit is known for his good treatment of the camera carrying community. But they got F's from they got F's from him too. But Deland they just do whatever they want. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck.
Current state of police-citizen affairs, it would have been safer for Mr. The Good to remain in his vehicle and file a complaint after the fact. Now, of course, this situation was different from a typical traffic stop, as Mr. The Good appeared to have a pre-existing relationship with the officers. And I understand why Mr. The Good wanted to try to continue the conversation after Sergeant Salmon stormed off. However, the safest course of action during a traffic stop is always for the driver to remain seated in the vehicle with their hands visible. Let's move on to the next interaction.
Not me. That's not how I roll, motherfuckers. So, there we have it. There we have it. Let's give Deland a call. Let's give Deland a call. Let's give the chief. You listening, Hamburger? We're going to give you a call. You're going to be brave enough to answer the phone, or you're going to be a coward like you usually are? What do you guys think? Is the chief going to be a coward like he usually is? Or is he going to pick up his phone? Yeah, look at the chat getting filled with cowards. Cowards.
Please press 1 to connect to 3-8.
Good afternoon, Chief Umberger's office.
Hi, is the chief available?
He is not. Is there something somebody else can help you with?
Is Captain Dice available?
He is in the same meeting.
What meeting are they in?
What meeting are they in? A senior command staff meeting?
Does that occur every Thursday at this time?
No. Is there something somebody else can help you with?
Well, I don't know who's available.
What is the issue you're experiencing?
Dissatisfaction with the Deland Police Department.
Well, I'll be happy to take a message if you'd like.
What was that? What was that?
Would you like me to take a message, sir?
I'd like to know what that meant. Like you were
Sir, I need to get back to work. I'd be happy to take a message for you if you'd like.
Miss, you're working right now. You're paid to listen to me. You know that, right?
Well, this is not a productive conversation.
Well, it's only unproductive because you haven't told me who's available after I asked.
It would depend on what you need, and then I could tell you.
Okay. Can you glean anything?
I can't help you.
Can you glean anything from what I've already said?
You're dissatisfied.
Is somebody available that can talk to dissatisfied citizens or no?
Not at the moment. What is your name?
Who handles dissatisfied citizens? What was your name, miss?
I'm not going to stay on the phone and go back and forth with you.
You're not going to go back and forth with somebody that pays your salary? That's interesting.
We are not having a productive conversation.
You decide what's productive and what isn't? We pay you and then you decide what's productive?
You don't pay me, sir.
Yes, we do, miss. So this bitch just hangs up. She does whatever she wants to. Because, you know what? because her boss lets her. These people are so misguided. You don't pay me, sir. What? What? The chief pays her. The chief pays that dumb bitch. That's exactly right, Lenny.
Please press 1 to connect to 3. Thank you for calling the Deland
Department. If this is a medical emergency or you need immediate police assistance, please hang up and dial 911. If you need non-emergency police assistance or animal control,
The chief's direct line is 386.
if you need the records division, administration personnel, or copy and evidence, please press 2. 1 moment, please.
386 7414.
How can I help you?
Hi, is this records?
Yes.
Who is it officer, is it Welty that handles records?
He fulfills certain requests, yes.
Is he available?
I can transfer you to his line.
Thanks. Yep, that's it. And 7400 is the switchboard.
This is Kevin Welty. Please leave a message. Thank you.
Hey, Kevin. I don't have the number in front of me. I was looking for an email. This was probably 10 days ago. I was just looking for one email to be forwarded to me. It was the email that the chief was disseminating to the officers about me. If you could please just forward that to me. I'm not sure what the unreasonable delay is all about, but I'd appreciate it. If you want to give me a call back, you can call me at 904-364-1949. Thanks, and have a great day. So there it is, folks. Let's do this. You guys remember the lawyer for the city? Let's give him a call. Excuse me. Darren J. Elkind, 386-734-3020. Immortal Talk, what's that mean?
734-3020.
386-734-3020.
Good afternoon, Paul Branson.
Hi, is Darren available?
Let me check. My name's who's calling?
Mr. The Good.
How do you spell the last name?
Thegood. The Good. It's all one word, though. I don't mind if they have my numbers, Dak. I've got so many of them. That's the city attorney's handle.
Good morning, this is Natasha.
Hey, Natasha. I was trying to get Darren. Is he in a meeting?
He is on the other line with a client. Can I take your information down and have him give you a call back?
Sure. My number's 904-364-1949.
Okay. And what was your name?
My last name's The Good. Thegood. He knows me.
Okay. And he'll know what it's in regards to?
He might not know what it's in regards to, but he'll know to call me back.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate it.
Okay. You're welcome.
Bye. All right. So how's everybody else doing? I can't believe. I mean, I can believe. All right, well, I think that's about it. Unbelievable. Their understanding of the community caretaking doctrine. We did not get any snow. None that accumulated, at least. I think Madison sent us a little video last night where it was, you could see the flurries in the sky last night. But holy smokes, they got, in the panhandle up there, they got like 10 inches of snow. I mean, that's crazy. It's a crazy amount of snow for Florida. Yeah, Grumble, Audit the Audit covered that, but he didn't cover the other thing. So there's the lights, and then there's also the chirping of the siren. So Jenna, how much? 7 inches. Holy shit. Hey, Sassy. Yeah, the party's almost over. We got to talk about the complaint process in Deland and how they take it super seriously. Wow, 5 inches in Alabama. I was in Alabama not too long ago. Are you familiar with the Pinhoti Trail, Lenny? I don't have an ad blocker. I have YouTube Premium. It's just not on my This Is a Public Service account. I guess I could have just logged into that one. This is terrible English. I mean, this is I don't think that they had. I don't think there was any investigation done. I think that I made that follow-up call on Thursday or Wednesday or whatever last week, and I think that that's when the complaint began. One man, they could be, They could be free, but I'm a neophyte, so I'd probably screw that up. Complainant's YouTube channel. It is noted that Officer Alfonso remained professional during the entire encounter and attempted to explain as much as he could. It should also be noted that I'm not sure what else it should be noted that, but nobody does any proofreading. Nobody makes sure that sentences mean what they say or what they're supposed to. That's funny. My PayPal doesn't work, and I've never taken it down. That's funny. But you only know that it doesn't work because you must have tried to give me money. So that's what I appreciate that sincerely. It's downright cold here. I run every day, but I ran today and it was like 40 degrees. I'm not into that in Florida. I had to break out my winter running gear. All right, well, I don't know that I've got too much or anything else to say, but I really do appreciate everybody coming in, hanging out for a little while. 5? That's too cold. We were up in Michigan over Christmas, and it was pretty cold some of those days, but that's why I live in Florida for a reason. I like John's take. I think that's probably very accurate. Professional means maintaining your authority no matter if you are right or wrong. The fact is they didn't like the questions. He came up to my car and he immediately started getting grilled by me. You know? And that's not officers don't like that, right? They want to be in control. And then when the dipshit sergeant arrived, he wanted to exert even more control. And when that didn't work, they just walk away. That's what they do. When they don't have an answer, they just walk away. They're the epitome of a child. They can't, what's up, Bushin? They can't have an intellectual conversation. They can't be bothered to learn the law. And yeah, maybe it's all intentional so that at the end of the day they can claim their ignorance or whatever the fuck, but it doesn't make me any less disgusted about it all. I'm really disgusted, as you guys can tell. If this live stream was any indication of how disgusted I am, you can tell I'm pretty disgusted. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming in. I appreciate it. They are trained to do that, and when it's pointed out to them that what they're doing is illegal, they just tell you, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. We're right. It's legal because we said so. Yeah, go with the flow. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know what rain it was today, but you know, it's like a cold misting rain. It wasn't nice. Oh, my chin's up. I'm in a great don't worry, guys. My chin's up. I wasn't disillusioned enough to think that they were actually going to take any of this seriously. Did I hope that Deland would do the right thing? Well, of course. There's always hope. I mean, otherwise, what are we doing this for? But I know that Deland is as sovereign gets, and they just do whatever they want. So I'm not disillusioned on that. Yes, founding fathers. Yes, it is. It is the only hope. And Deland specifically, they're banking on the citizenry not doing any, not taking any action, and it's not limited to their lawlessness in their traffic stops. The Deland Police Department violates the law daily, and one of their biggest offenses is their illegal public records operation, where they extort the citizenry, where they delay, where they obstruct. But nothing's going to change in Deland, and I think Deland knows that. They don't give a shit about they don't care about them flaunting the public records law, because nobody's going to do anything. Nobody's ever going to hold them accountable until somebody does. And then it's going to be a nasty wake-up call for them. That's right, Chuck. They never do the right thing. They always double down. They always triple down. They always quadruple down. That's all they know how to do. That's all they know. That's all they know how to do. And I'm fed up to here with it. All right. Yeah, when it comes to public record, it is the delay police department. Literally, I asked for an email. I said, Chief's been writing an email about me. Send me the email. What? Just forward me the email. Why? It's been more than a week. Why don't I have the email? I mean, you're going to send emails out about me. And then when I find out about them and request them, you're going to what? You're going to try to act like they don't exist? This is another ploy that Deland tries to get into. Deland, this is Chief Hamburger. He tried some cute shit a couple years ago when the Stephen Sanders case was going on, and I requested his deleted emails. And sure enough, inside his deleted emails are emails about me from the FPS agent Mohammed on the Deland Social Security thing. He's trying to hide public records. He's trying to destroy public records. Chief Hamburger, that's a crime. That's a crime, Chief. But he doesn't care. He doesn't care. They don't care. But you know what? I do believe change is coming. I do believe that change is coming. I do believe 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 5. Gonna have to. Why can't I go down? Number 7. What was it? 38,114. All right, so I was relatively unfamiliar with this one, but I'm very familiar with 112.311 subsection 3. That is the Code of Ethics for Public Officers and Employees, which states in part, "It is likewise essential that the people be free to seek redress of their grievances and express their opinions to all government officials on current issues and past or pending legislative and executive actions at every level of government. In order to preserve and maintain the integrity of the governmental process, it is necessary that the identity, the expenditures, and activities of those persons who regularly engage in efforts to persuade public officials to take special actions, either by direct communication with such officials or by solicitation of others to engage in such efforts, be regularly disclosed to the people." So that's the law too, right? But nobody cares. The land doesn't care. They swore to uphold this law and they don't care. Doesn't matter to them. They only care about the blue line, like that receptionist for the chief. What the fuck was that? Like, I might have been a little prickly, but why did you have to be a cunt? Yeah, Bip. Exactly. Turner versus Driver. It was in that department. It was the Fort Worth department. And they still bounced her off her face. It's gross. Yeah. Grumble, Audit the Audit covers that. He covers the Dombrowski, but the problem is that the state of Florida has a case that's specific. The state of Florida has a case that undoes this all for Deland. It's Majors versus State, I believe. But this is the Dombrowski thing that you were talking about, I think.
His police vehicle. A plurality of the Supreme Court established in the 1980 case of United States versus Mendenhall that, quote, a person has been, quote unquote, seized within the meaning of the Fourth Amendment only if, in view of all of the circumstances surrounding the incident, a reasonable person would have believed her, as the First District Court of Appeal of Florida explained in the suspicion of criminal activity. The term community caretaking function originates from the 1973 case of Caddy versus Dombrowski, where the Supreme Court recognized that law enforcement officers frequently engage in duties that involve protecting or assisting members of the public that are, now quoting, totally divorced from the detection, investigation, or acquisition of evidence relating to the violation of a criminal statute. Therefore, as the First District Court of Appeal of Florida explained in the 2011 case of Majors versus State, quote, under the community caretaking doctrine, an officer may stop a vehicle without reasonable suspicion of criminal activity if the stop is necessary for public safety and welfare. For example, the quote continues, an officer is permitted to stop a vehicle when it is being operated in an unusual manner, even though no traffic violation is suspected. The purpose of such a stop is to ascertain whether the driver of the vehicle is in need of assistance due to illness, tiredness, or impairment, and to protect the motoring public from harm. However, the court went on to clarify that, now quoting again, even a stop pursuant to an officer's community caretaking responsibilities must be based on specific articulable facts showing that the stop was necessary for the protection of the public. Now, although Officer Alonso claimed that he believed Mr. The Good might have needed assistance because he had pulled off the road several times while he was driving, this argument is not particularly compelling, particularly given the fact that Mr. The Good did not pull off the road at all during the several minutes of dashcam footage immediately preceding the stop. Additionally, although the Fifth Fifth District Court of Appeal of Florida also determined in the 2005 case of State versus Rodriguez that, quote, a stop may be justified even in the absence of a traffic infraction when the vehicle is being operated in an unusual manner. In reaching this conclusion, the court relied on cases where the so-called unusual manner of operation created a legitimate concern for the safety of the public, such as crossing the fog line 3 times within 1 mile, weaving within the lane more than 5 times over a quarter-mile distance, and weaving within the lane and moving slower than the posted speed. Accordingly, while it is possible that a court could conclude a community caretaking traffic stop was justified in this situation, given the lack of evidence regarding a potential public safety concern, it seems unlikely that a reasonable court would do so.
Not a reasonable court, Deland. Not a reasonable court. All right. It's 12:30. I don't know how long I've been on, but probably long enough. I appreciate everybody coming in, hanging out for a little bit. I needed to get that off my chest because it's a bunch of bullshit. That's why I needed to get it off my chest. I don't know how these people sleep at night. 90 minutes? That's probably long enough, huh? Where is that, Richard? Where is Murphy v. Ramsey? What jurisdiction? Trash Gordon. Tell the trash at Deland Police Department that. Yeah, maybe a corrupt court. That's right. If this was going on in Tucson. Thank you for all the work you do, Chuck. You know, Chuck, we got it right here, actually. I'm sitting in my bait car right there. So you've inspired countless people to follow in your footsteps and get a bait car and take to the streets to make sure that the police are behaving themselves and following the law and protecting our rights. Most importantly, protecting our rights. That's the whole purpose of that car, is to ensure that the police department doesn't violate my rights. Chuck is the man. But TC, what would you sue him for is the problem. Yeah, and Lenny, and even them, they're off the rails. You know what I mean? They're so far off the rails. Yeah, that's all. I'm firmly in the James Freeman camp on this. That this isn't to show them, to get them to do the right thing, right? They're not going to do the right thing. It's been illustrated countless times in thousands of videos that they don't do the right thing almost ever, right? But I think it's our duty to publicly shame these people into doing the right thing. It was Rogue that turned me on to that turned that statement. Let's see if I can pull the actual quote that Rogue had always told me. People, was it Vancouver? It was Quebec. It'd probably take me a little while to find it, so maybe I won't. Alright, bear with me for a minute. See if we can get it up. Actually occurred in my very first shoot. See you later, John. Thanks for coming in. I'm getting close. There it is. All right, I found it. Yeah, thank you very much, Ion Margate. That's exactly what it was, right? Here it is. In October 1776, the Second Continental Congress accordingly drafted a letter to the citizens of Quebec. The importance of this consists, besides the advancement of truth, science, and morality, and arts in general, in its diffusion of liberal sentiments on the administration of government, its ready communication of thoughts between subjects, and its consequential promotion of union among them, whereby oppressive officers are shamed or intimidated into more honorable and just modes of conducting affairs. So that's what I'm doing. I don't think that they're gonna just do the right thing. I think that shame is one of the only ways that they do the right thing. So if it takes shaming them, let's shame the shit out of them.